Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm John. This episode and every future episode is dedicated to the horror hounds and smokers out there who want to expand their knowledge of the genre and have a good time.
Today we're going to talk about the comedy Scary Movie, which turned 20 years old this year on July 4th. Holy fuck do I feel old.
Oh, Jesus Christ, don't fucking remind me.
And we have special guest Dave Sheridan here with us today. Most of you know him as Special Officer Doofy in Scary Movie. He's been in some other genre favorites too, like The Devil's Rejects and more recently, Victor Crowley, the fourth film in the Hatchet series. Dave is going to spill his guts to us in an exclusive interview. All that and more today on High on Horror. Interview reviews and the latest news rolled into one.
And now it's time to get into our new segment, Screaming Room. Welcome to a new segment on our show, Screaming Room. This segment is not going to be on every episode, but whenever Drew and I get sent a screener, we'll share it with you. Our pals over at Shudder sent us the first 4 episodes of Slasher Flesh and Blood, starring David Cronenberg. This week we'll discuss as much as we legally can about the first 2 episodes. And Drew and I actually just finished the first 2 episodes. Outside of a few comments, we haven't really discussed the episode in depth. So Drew, what were your initial thoughts on it?
Well, yeah, this is the 4th season of this Canadian anthology show, and I've followed it, the first 2 seasons. The 3rd season, I kind of just, I just kind of fell out of it, but, seeing as how it's an anthology show, it's not really important if you miss seasons or whatnot, though I would recommend that you do catch this season because David fucking Cronenberg is in it. The first episode starts immediately. It's fast-paced. David Cronenberg is tearing the screen up, in my opinion. His character as the head of the Galloway family, Spencer, reminds me of Vince McMahon behind the scenes. He's just like this harsh businessman. Tell me you can't see that.
No chance.
You're fired.
Yeah, I can definitely see it. And like I told you, I thought Cronenberg sounded like Jigsaw, but not in a bad way. He had that like Tobin Bell delivery, but it definitely felt very Jigsaw-ish, but not in a bad way.
Yeah, I agree. And no, that's kind of like exactly what he did with Decker, where his voice does sound like a different range, but as Decker, in Nightbreed, he changed his voice too, where it was like he was just more monotone and just kind of talked like this. He didn't really show any emotion, so he's known for like getting into character. So I was actually, impressed by the voice change. But he plays, a harsh businessman. Like I said, he reminds me of Vince McMahon. So harsh that after dropping some huge news on his family, he tells them that they have to compete for his fortune in a series of rough and violent games. He's a real asshole.
Yeah, I mean, and to label this family as dysfunctional is probably the best compliment you can give them. And you mentioned the family games. I was going to say, the one thing about those games, without giving anything away, we're talking horror, so, like, this isn't backyard badminton at the family barbecue. Like,
Not at all.
And, you were mentioning about it being a Canadian series. I want to bring up something. Canadians get stereotyped as being nice and accommodating people, but my God, do they put out some violent horror.
No, it's true, yeah. The Ginger Snaps movies are also Canadian, and I love those fucking movies, dude.
Black Christmas, that's another one. I mean, like, they don't play around. The kills, I thought, were well done. The effects team, well done by them. Also, I really liked the plague mask. I thought that looked really good.
Yeah, like the 17th century doctors would wear like those plague masks. The killer's wearing that mask and it's like white. It looks really cool. It looks like it's made out of like porcelain or something. So I dig that. I do want to mention though that one thing Shudder, the slasher series as a whole, has never strayed away from, and that is sex. Showing sex, graphic sex, a lot of sex. 10 minutes into this episode, cheeks are clapping. Let's just get it out there and say it.
They do be getting clapped. I said outside of a few comments Drew and I discussed, that was one of the only ones we discussed, as I was told not even 10 minutes in, they clap at cheeks.
And I gotta say, I really liked how somebody got, as I'll put it, Hellraisered. I'll leave it vague, but once you see, the first episode, you'll know what I mean. The kills and the gore were fucking nasty, man. I dig the violence.
Yeah, and thank you again to Shudder for sharing this sneak peek with us. And next week we'll continue this and we'll review episode 3. I will actually say I was surprised. I thought it was going to be a shorter series, but they're 45-minute episodes, and I really dig it. I thought they were going to be like 22-minute ones, but I really like the length of the episodes as well.
Yeah, it's like a little mini slasher movie every episode, kind of.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it. But it does have a connected story, unlike some of the slasher series out there.
Definitely, yeah.
Yep, Slasher Flesh and Blood. It drops this Thursday, August 12th, exclusively on Shudder in the US, Australia, New Zealand, the UK, and Ireland. And make sure to tune in and check it out.
Now it's time for Strain Wreck, the segment of our show where John and I discuss the strain that we're getting wrecked on in this episode. Today, we're smoking a strain called Brutality. It's a new strain. It's a hybrid strain. It's a cross between reptile gushers and scorpion gushers. It is a hybrid of a hybrid of a hybrid. It is mainly a diesel strain. It smells like pure gas. John, check it out.
Yeah, I like it has a little bit of orange in it, I guess. I guess that's supposed to be the scorpions crossed with it. It kind of has like a fruity smell to it, and so I mean, who you picking, scorpion or reptile?
I'm gonna go scorpion all day, every day.
See, I feel like scorpion's the easy choice. I mean, he's got the good over here, but reptile has acid spit. I mean, that's got to be something.
I mean, reptile's the underdog. You could bet on him, and it's a possibility, you know. But I mean, the safe money says scorpion.
I mean, I also feel like the new movie, as much as we both liked it, it's just kind of, Reptile was just a throwaway character.
Yeah, Reptile was he was cool to see. They did a really good job with the way he looked, but yeah, he was disposed of rather quickly. I was a little disappointed in that.
Well, it looked like he about to get smoked again.
I'm going to spark us up, dude. What do you got going on this week in horror history?
This week in horror history.
This week in horror history, we have John Carpenter's Body Bags from August 8th, 1993.
I love Body Bags, man. Body Bags is one of those movies, you know, that I still hear people go back and forth about. It's not like The Thing where everybody hated it when it first came out and then grew to realize what a genius piece of cinema it is. With Body Bags, you get mixed opinions on it still to this day. I always liked it, though. You know, it was a classic growing up. Hold on. Take that. Yeah, I watched it a bunch growing up. Sure, it's a bit dated, especially Hair with Stacy Keach, but it's still fun. The gas station is definitely the best segment of the whole anthology. David Naughton, Wes Craven, and Sam Raimi all make cameos in it. Is pretty twisted too. Stars Mark Hamill. I'd give this one a solid 7 out of 10 on a critical level. On an enjoyment level, I'd probably give it about an 8.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with you that Hair is the weakest of the three. Gas Station would definitely be the best, but I feel like Eye's definitely really close to Mark Hamill one. But I mean, it has Mark Hamill in it, so that's always going to be a solid one. The gas station one, the gas station's actually set at a filling station near Haddonfield, a reference to Halloween. And originally, Showtime was planning to have this as a television series similar to Tales from the Crypt. I mean, you could tell it's very similar to Tales from the Crypt. But after filming began, they decided not to pursue it as a series and just make it an anthology, and they just put all 3 stories in there.
What a shame. Yeah, that's a total shame. Yeah, you know, one of the things, though, I have to say my favorite part of the movie, it just goes to show you, like, John Carpenter's wit and sense of humor when he's not taking things too seriously. The part where he's in the morgue and he's, like, checking out all the dead bodies and he goes to pull out the one body and it's, like, this very busty blonde woman, and he goes to slide the tray out and she, like, gets stuck because her boobs are so big that, like, he can't, like, pull her out of the little, like, cube, you know, that she's in. And that shit just cracks me up because it's like, you know, just like it's just not something you'd expect to see Carpenter do, and to see him do it, it's just really fucking hilarious.
Yeah, and I mean, we also have a lot of horror icons in it. We have Tobe Hooper, Robert Carradine, Wes Craven. Who else am I missing? Roger Corman. And I think that about covers everybody, but yeah, it's real interesting to see Roger Corman just in the Eye episode playing Doctor.
Well, so here's a question for you. So this is John Carpenter's anthology film. John Carpenter doesn't really do anthology films, but he did this one. So we saw how John Carpenter blends with Stephen King when we got Christine, and we see how George Romero blends with Stephen King when we get Creepshow. So, do you think that an anthology film by John Carpenter written by Stephen King would be amazing, or do you feel that John Carpenter's just not an anthology type of person?
Um, I mean, I feel like this proves that he can do anthology. I mean, it's not the best one I've seen, but it's not terrible by any means. I don't know. I don't think it could reach the level of their partnership, if you will, for Christine. But I mean, it's John Carpenter, so I mean, if he puts it out, I'm gonna watch it.
Exactly. No, I think that with Body Bags being a little bit more, lighthearted and like witty, I think that if he took it more seriously, like some of his other films did a serious anthology with some shit written by Stephen King, I think that would have been amazing. If George, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I love George Romero, but look, if George Romero could do it, John Carpenter could fucking do it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Do, do you think we'll ever see anything directed by John Carpenter again?
I mean, I keep seeing things like that he's not saying that he'll never direct anything. He's keeping the door open, but like directing movies nowadays is a lot harder than it was back then, and I definitely understand that. It definitely is. Everything, like, the market's different, everything's different. I would love to see him direct a movie again, honestly. He's my favorite director of all time. His last few movies, though, they definitely showed that he was slipping a little bit, with all due respect. So I would love nothing more than to see him come back and just fucking nail it with some sort of awesome, horror movie or sci-fi movie or something. If he has one or two more left in him, goddamn it, I would love to see it. But if not, I'd rather him stay retired or stay, gone than to come back and make some more bad movies. Like, just walk away a champion, dude.
But I feel like he could partner with somebody like Blumhouse, and he could have. I feel like they would definitely give him the creative freedom to make a movie that he would want to make with little interference. But I don't know if he necessarily would want to anymore.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. I feel like, especially with his involvement in the new Halloween films, he might be getting his I feel like there might have been a part of him that was itching to maybe do horror, but now that he's involved in these new Halloween films, I feel that might be, filling his cup, so to speak. Like, I feel that if he were to direct, or given the opportunity to direct another film, I don't feel like he would do the slasher thing or the horror thing. I feel like he would go sci-fi with it.
Yeah, Carpenter. I mean, he's considered a master of horror, but I mean, he also does sci-fi very well.
The Thing is sci-fi. The Thing is sci-fi horror, and it's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. And I guess next we'll get on to Puff Puff Ask, where we get questions here from our listeners via social media and email.
Yo, man. Puff, puff, pass.
All right, I'll start here. Kathy from Madison, Wisconsin emailed us and asked us a fucking tough one. She asked, Drew and John, if you could recast anyone in a horror film, who would it be and why? Oh my god, that question is fucking hard. There are so many good movies that have fucking bad acting in them, and there's so many bad movies that have bad acting in them. It's like, where the fuck do you start? These questions are really starting to fuck with my head. It's too much to fucking process to think about all this shit. Off the top of my head, I'm gonna pick Kane Hodder to replace Ken Kersinger in Freddy vs. Jason as Jason. Ken did a great job, and he proved a lot of people wrong with his performance as Jason, and he looked great. But if he still had to wear fucking Kiss platform boots to play Jason, then they should have let Kane play the part. His size does not matter. John, what do you think? What's your answer?
Child's Play 3. I mean, Justin Whalen did an okay job, but it wasn't Andy. I mean, I feel like they should have stuck with Alex Vincent. I mean, they wanted to have an older Andy, but Alex Vincent's Andy. Now, can we change directors? Because I'm telling you, Halloween, Rob Zombie, get him out of there.
it is an ongoing thing to all you listeners out there. It is an ongoing thing. John, it always brings up every chance he fucking gets. He's poking at Rob Zombie's Halloween because he fucking hates it. And I'm in love with Phantom of the Paradise, so every time I bring up Phantom of the Paradise, John gives me shit about it. Always fucking making fun of me for fucking bringing it up. So I'm sorry, dude. I gotta call you out. Why do you gotta take a shot every fucking time? That was Child's Play 3. I mean, look, I didn't like Halloween either. Look, I despise Halloween 1 and 2 that Rob Zombie did. But like, you fucking take a cheap shot at every fucking chance you get. Why is it so personal to you, bro?
It ruined my childhood, bro.
Nah, you were like in your 20s when it came out, right?
I know, but it's just like, I'm like that. Man, this is worse than the fucking Thorn story. Come on. I'd rather watch the producer's cut with, as you described them in your blog back in the day, frozen meatballs. I'd rather watch that than anything Rob Zombie's made.
Oh, the little runes, the little stones that they used in the cult to like lock Michael in the circle that look like the little fucking frozen meatballs.
And the ending where Loomis becomes the new Michael, I guess, is what they were going with. That's still even better than what Rob Zombie did.
Damn. Oh, shit. I mean, I can't imagine Dr. Loomis being Michael Myers, man. I think Tyler Mane did a great job as Michael, but
No.
the problem is the problem is that he shouldn't have been 7 feet tall and the script sucked. If the story was better, he would have been an okay Michael. I'm not gonna bash his performance, but not a fan of the Halloween movie. But let's move on because this is not a discussion about.
Come on.
I'm not gonna have you steer an entire fucking episode into just talking about your hatred for Rob Zombie's
I'm
Halloween.
down to make that a whole episode. But fine, I'll move on. Brendan from Sunshine Coast, Australia wants to know if we've played a lot of horror-related video games. I have played a lot. It's even something I've thought about maybe for the channel that we could put up some videos of us playing. I mean, recently the Dead by Daylight series is great. They're always adding new stuff from.
Didn't you say Michael Myers is in that series, The Dead by Daylight? Like he's in that one?
Yeah, he's in it.
Is Rob Zombie's Michael Myers in that series?
No, because they know what's good. That's why they have stuff like Scream. Okay, I guess with the caveat that they do have Freddy, but it is remake-looking Freddy.
Oh,
so.
it's Catface Freddy.
Yeah. I've played that. I like the Friday the 13th series. Well, I guess it's not really a series because the NES one was completely different and that was horrible. There's the Freddy game on NES I played. I mean, I've even played the old Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween on the Atari 2600, and it's the Halloween one. You literally are going around the giant house. Angry Video Game Nerds covered it, but you just go around the house avoiding Michael and taking kids to corners of the house because Michael won't go in the corner of the house to kill the kids. But
So that's how you avoid him. You survive Michael by hiding in the corners of the house.
well, you just walk past them. But it's also funny, as I've said, you can go check out the video from Angry Video Game Nerd. But when Michael stabs Lori, her head disappears and it's just like spurting blood in Atari graphics.
God damn, brutal. Gory as shit for Halloween. Halloween had no gore in it. Why would the game be like that?
And with her skirt, she's actually wider than Michael in the game.
Damn.
But I've played those. I've played the Resident Evil games. I've played a lot of horror themed games.
Yeah, not me. I'm not a big gamer. I'm old school and I love to read. That's my thing. When I'm not watching movies or sleeping or hanging out with my family, I'm reading. My buddy Ryan Jones in New York, though, I gotta tell you, he was thrilled when I told him that video games were a recommended distraction for my anxiety. He came at me hard with game suggestions and actually bought me Resident Evil 2. Which was a great fucking game, and he also got me to play The Evil Within, and I still haven't played the second one yet, but I did play the first one 2 times, and I've never played a video game 2 times before in my life besides the first Resident Evil game for the original PlayStation. Growing up, yeah, I played the original Resident Evil and Castlevania, but as far as, horror gaming goes, that's about it. I usually just enjoy, like, simple games like fighting games like Mortal Kombat and UFC and that type of shit.
Castlevania, yeah, I forgot about that one. I love the Castlevania series. The fourth one on the SNES is probably my favorite, though.
I've only played the first.
I mean, the second one's either you love it or you hate it. But I think the one on Super Nintendo is best. And also, I remember being younger and I rented from West Coast Video, was the video store. It was Gremlins 2 on the NES, and that game pissed me off the whole weekend I had it. I sucked at it. It was so fucking frustrating.
But look, I'm a collector of this type of shit, you know, like I love this type of stuff. Now you're complaining about the game, but you say Gremlins 2 is a game, and to me I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, whether I could play it or not, I would love to have that somewhere in like my collection. Like I didn't even know there was a Gremlin. I swear to God, like I knew about all the other like Friday the 13th game and the Halloween game and shit. I did not know that there was a fucking Gremlins 2 game. Like if I ever saw that, I'd fucking buy it in a heartbeat, even if I couldn't play it.
I mean, you get to go around as Gizmo the entire game.
That's amazing. Did you get to do the Rambo shit? Well, I guess probably a little too advanced for that, right?
I mean, it's been a long time since I played it, but if I remember, I think there is like a shooting scene in it. It tried to do stuff from the movies.
Okay, cool. Yeah, all right. Well, if you have any questions for us, reach out and contact us through our Instagram and Facebook at High on Horror 420 and Twitter at high_horror. And email at highonhorror420@gmail.com. Now it's time to get into today's film/discussion of Scary Movie, which just turned 20 years old this year on July 4th.
Scary Movie spoofs 90s slashers spoofs I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream. The movie stars Anna Faris in her first leading role. Like I Know What You Did Last Summer, they hit a man on the road. He does die, but not initially. Like I Know What You Did Last Summer. they have to continuously beat him and kick him off of a pier. And then they're stalked by a killer wearing a ghost face mask from Scream. How many of these actors will survive this Wayans Brother classic? You'll have to watch and find out for yourself.
Yeah, it's truly hard to believe that it's been 20 years. You just mentioned in your synopsis how they have to keep beating the guy up. You forgot the part where it's hold on, let me compose myself. We hit a boot. Where's the foot? Yeah, Scary Movie is one of those movies like Terminator 2, and other legendary films that, you know, me and other people, you know, my age grew up with, where it's still referenced in pop culture. Some people don't like the movie, but fuck them because it's stuck. I can't think of anybody who I've ever talked to in person who's ever disliked the film. It's funny as shit. Not only is it, you know, referenced in pop culture like legendary movies, but it's also just as quotable. Yo, party at Cindy's house, drunk white women for everybody. I mean, come on.
You got a dollar? Get away from me, you bum. Buffy, can't you see he's hungry? Here you go, sir, nice sandwich. I said $1, bitch.
Exactly. You know, this movie has a perfect cast too. You know, besides Doofy, I have to confess that my favorite character is the sheriff, played by Kurt Fuller. That shit with him asking Cindy to look at the pictures of him in the pink Speedos fucking kills me every fucking time.
Okay, side topic here. What's your favorite Kurt Fuller movie? Is it Scary Movie?
It's probably Scary Movie, yeah.
Let me tell you, the best one is with Hulk Hogan and Debo from Friday, called No Holds Barred. He was such a dick in that movie. I don't know how many times fucking little 5-year-old me, being a Hulk Hogan fan, watched that movie on VHS so much.
Yeah, it's funny. I haven't seen that movie in a long time, man. It's been a long time. But yeah, about the Speedo thing, I actually always tell my wife, like, if I ever get to meet him at a convention, I'm gonna get him to sign one of those fucking photos in the pink Speedo. Like that has to happen. I will hang that on my wall proudly. I don't care. It's fucking hilarious. But yeah, as a whole, you get a Scream spoof, but it's so much more than that. Honestly, it's fucking silly as shit. But it is actually really smartly written, and John, what are some of your favorite parts, dude? Gail swallows.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Going back to the quotes, fucking Ray's comment: "No, watching TV doesn't create psycho killers. Canceling TV shows does."
If that were true, I'd be a fucking killer because fucking Hannibal got canceled, man. Fuck that shit.
Yeah, all over Hannibal, but I gotta say this. I mean, this is the pinnacle of the Wayans brothers. This and Live in Color have to be like the two best things they've done.
Yeah, I absolutely agree, dude. I love the Wayans brothers. Like they can't really go wrong with me. I'm sorry, like they can't. Like I told you before, I'm not very big on white chicks, but I mean, one of my favorite movies of all time, one of my favorite comedies is I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker. And I mean, it's just like literally every way is like fucking hilarious from their fucking scalp to their toes.
I know I'm going off on another tangent away from our topic, but I'll tell you a really underrated Wayans brother movie. Blank Man. I fucking love that movie.
Totally.
I still remember, I don't know what year it was. I remember just like, it was on HBO like all summer, and I remember just having a TV on my porch and just watching that movie so much. But I don't even know how old I was, probably like 10 or 11.
Yeah, it's crazy though because you brought up In Living Color, and my wife had never watched the show. Sam had never watched the show, and I made her watch a couple episodes, and I mean she was laughing like the hardest that I've seen her laugh in a long time. Like she was cracking the fuck up, and like literally like 10 minutes into an episode, she looks at me and goes, "Yo, this shit would not fly nowadays." And I'm like, there's so much about that show that is not politically correct.
Let's be honest, there's so much about the 90s that just wouldn't fly today.
I mean, yeah.
How'd you feel about the other scary movies, like the sequels?
I love Scary Movie 2, obviously Handyman, Hanson,
That was good.
Yeah, he's fucking, yeah, him and the whole film of Scary Movie 2 are hilarious. I do feel that the film is missing Doofy's presence. Everybody else got to retain, their characters, but he didn't come back. But it's actually a toss-up for me. Part 2 is really fucking funny. Like, it's really good. It's just, again, so many quotable fucking lines, so many memorable. Hanson fucking the turkey. Come on, what? Like, come on. You know what I mean? Like,
Was it? I think it was part 3. I remember this would be a common theme of, I guess that's 2004, 2005, my senior year of high school. Common theme of most of the movies I saw that year is I skipped school to watch them. I remember Kenny and I like leaving school and going to see Scary Movie 3. I mean, the quality, none of them can match the original, but each of them, for however good or however bad they are, they still have at least something that'll make you laugh watching it.
yeah, I think that even though, like, the series got away from the Wayans brothers, the humor in them, like, what's the third one with the dude that's trying to act like it's like they're ripping 8 Mile? Isn't that the third one? Or is that the fourth one?
That was the one. The third one was with Charlie Sheen. It was kind of making fun of, I think it was Signs.
Okay. I think it's the same one. Yeah. That movie was pretty funny. The series tried to keep up with that silly, stupid humor that the Wayans brothers really do well, and it worked to a degree. But I mean, let me put it to you this way: I'm not gonna say I don't like them, but I don't own them. I only own 1 and 2 on my DVD rack.
I've had them all on DVD for a long time, but I pretty much only watch shit on Vudu. I'm the opposite of your physical collection. Mine's all digital.
You a digital guy?
But on digital, the only one I have is the first one. I mean, I feel like it's really the only one you need.
I mean, I agree. I definitely agree.
And now it's time for Burn and Learn, the segment of our show where we hit you with some cool behind-the-scenes facts from our episode's topic. In this case, Scary Movie.
Oh.
Burn and learn.
All right, I'll start here. The original script had a cameo by Jamie Lee Curtis.
In Cindy's bedroom, she says, "Would you like to have a little bump bump?" The line was originally going to be used in Scream, but was changed to "Would you like to have a little raw footage?"
Jared Leto turned down the role of Bobby to be in Requiem for a Dream that also starred Marlon Wayans.
Scary Movie was released by Dimension Films, the same company who released Scream.
Shannon Elizabeth's name in the film Buffy is a spoof on Sarah Michelle Gellar, who played Helen Shivers and I Know What You Did Last Summer and Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Damon Wayans was originally going to be the killer, but due to scheduling conflicts, they rewrote it. He was originally going to be the killer, and the idea was going to be because he was mad at his brothers for leaving him out of the movie.
Sarah Michelle Gellar is the only person in the two films referenced in the movie, Scream 2 and I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Hardly anything from Aaron Seltzer and Jason Freeberg's screenplay was used once the Wayans brothers took over. Marlon Wayans claims that he and the other writers never read the original screenplay. Keenan Ivory Wayans says that there was nothing worth keeping to add into their version.
David L. Lander played Principal Squigman, a nod to his role as Squiggy on the classic television sitcom Laverne and Shirley.
And also, you might not know that the sign in the office says Schatz Beer, which was the beer they used on the show.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And also, Alicia Milverstone. I can say it. She calls herself that. Don't at me. Anyway, Alicia turned down the role of Cindy Campbell.
When Anna Faris landed a part in the film, she was working in an ad agency that was only a week away from moving to her company's London office.
Spoiler, at around the 1 hour, 18-minute mark, the last scene where Doofy's seen walking properly, and that was taken from The Usual Suspects from 1995, where Kevin Spacey does the same thing.
And if you pay close attention throughout most of the movie, there are subtle hints that Doofy is the killer.
And now let's get into our interview with Special Officer Doofy himself, David Sheridan.
Dave Sheridan is an actor, comedian, writer, producer, and musician. You all know him as Doofy from Scary Movie. Welcome, Dave. Thank you for being on High on Horror.
Hey, thank you for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
First off, we want to thank you for taking the time to do this interview, man. We know you're very busy.
Thank you. And I wanted to thank you for taking time to have me, because I know you guys are very stoned.
Correct, you are.
Absolutely.
So let's start real quick. You're from Delaware like us. Did you go to school here? When did you did you go to school here?
I did. I went to high school. I mean, I grew up there, so I went all the way to high school. Glasgow was my high school in Newark. Yeah.
And when did you move away from Delaware?
Senior year of high school, I'm going to say it was 86, probably 86, I think. Yeah, 1986.
Do you still? Oh, I'm sorry. But do you still come back to Delaware often?
I try not to, but yeah. Yeah, my sister, my brother, and my parents, they still live down there. They all live in Delaware. So I go back and visit. I haven't been back since November of 2019 was the last time I went back, and I went hunting with my dad and my son. I brought my son back to go hunting. Yeah.
Do you have a go-to Wawa item?
Whoa, a go-to what? A
Wawa item?
Oh, Wawa item. Not really. I gotta be honest. Here's the thing. Wawa has changed a lot. You might not think it has, but it's like bigger and bigger and crazier. And there's like the self-serve, things. My whole thing with Wawa was going in at like 2 a.m. and getting like a bagel, egg, and breakfast sandwich, you know what I mean? Or something like that. So if there was a Wawa item, it probably would be like, just that breakfast sandwich. I'm not a big like sub sandwich person or anything like that, hoagies or whatever they call them there. Yeah. But just to let you know, the last time I was in a Wawa was actually in Florida. It was in Winter Haven, Florida, which is outside Orlando. So Wawas are, they really are spread. I don't think they're on the other side of the Mississippi yet, but they're pretty much spread across the country. They're giant. And it was a whole, like, you had to like order it on, a touch screen. you had to order your meal or whatever, and then you get a number and you wait. So
Yeah, they're definitely expanding. There's a new Wawa popping up every other fucking day, I swear to God.
My question though, in Delaware though, has like Sheets gotten there? Is Sheets there?
No.
Sheets?
Nope.
That's like a Wawa, and then there's a whole bunch of other ones that are like Wawas. So Sheets is one in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
That's like in Gettysburg area, Pittsburgh area, and it reminded me of Wawa. So
Well,
yeah.
speaking, let's go into your career now. Did you always want to be an actor?
I did. I didn't always want to be an actor, but I've always been an actor since I was in preschool. So I wouldn't say I don't wish it on anyone. It really sucks actually, but it's pretty much the only thing I could do. I'm not capable of working and I have worked regular jobs and I've been fired from all of them. So yeah.
That's funny. Yeah, that's kind of like with this podcast. Me and John do not like working, so it's kind of like with this podcast is hopefully we're gonna do something with this, and that's our way to make our own living. So hopefully that takes off because so far we're on the right track, man. And again, thank you for being on.
Oh yeah, if I'm a little sedated because I'm not normally. I'm a little like I just looked at there was a bowl next to the nightstand at this hotel room with a bag of weed and stuff like that. And I was a little medicine thing of weed, like a little, because I'm traveling. But I'm in the lobby. See, I'm in the lobby.
Okay.
Of a hotel for service purposes of getting like the signal because my room was not getting a signal. So with that said, I'm a little quieter than I normally am.
Oh, that's fine. We can hear you loud and clear, so that works perfect. Okay. So
I'm just not the crazy Dave. My nickname in Glasgow was Dave the Rave Who Can't Behave. That was my nickname.
Well, how often do you smoke, dude?
Every night before bed. Yeah, I sleep to it. Yeah, I don't smoke during the day.
So it helps you sleep. It helps you sleep. You do it more of like a help you. That's how. I know someone who does that as well. It's not really for the to be stoned per se. It's more to just kind of help you go to sleep.
Yeah, but a lot of people they always say oh, indica's in the couch or whatever, And I find that the sativa works better for me for going to bed. So I don't know what that's about, but the indica makes me that's the stuff that makes my brain just spin and spin and spin. So it's completely the opposite. So.
And how do you like to consume J's, blunts, bowls?
Oh, well, yeah, I have a glass bowl because it was free. Some guy left. Remember last on the ride over. Remember I told you the guy left the weed in a glass bowl in my back seat. So I kept his glass bowl, and that's basically it. I'm not someone that's going to go out and buy stuff. I don't mind edibles though. You know what I mean? If I'm at convention or something like that, I'll do edibles when people hand me stuff. I do like the edibles that are prepackaged that'll tell you the percentage versus I get a lot of people that give you edibles that they make and you don't know what the hell is in it. You know what I mean? You don't know if I eat this whole cookie am I going to be up for 2 days or what the deal is? So
it's a fun surprise.
Yeah, I don't like surprises like that though. Not when I'm working. So I'd rather get the gummy bears or something where you can see the package and it tells you it's 25% or 15% or 50, whatever it is, So
yeah, that is true to know what you're getting into ahead of time.
Yeah.
You have a lot of horror.
Hold on, what's the law in Delaware right now? What are the marijuana laws and rules?
It's decriminalized and medical is legal.
So you're
but the medical's a joke.
Yeah, I can see. What do you mean the medical's a joke? He's smoking right now.
They are usually always out, and their prices are not that great.
Oh, are they more expensive? You're saying?
Yeah, they're more expensive.
Yep.
Okay.
And they never have nothing in stock. So
why wouldn't they have anything in stock? I don't understand that. Because they can't keep it.
It's been a fight all along. Even though our governor, because of us being so close to DC, he was afraid to implement it because the feds could still come in, and the current governor doesn't want to legalize it because he says that we need more research.
Okay, more research. I don't know. I think Delaware seems like a very marijuana, and it would be a good crop for them because they got all that corn, and stuff like that. So it'd be a fine crop. So
Yeah, I definitely agree with you.
Most states I travel all over. Most states seem to be, it's just legal. Most states that I know of. So it's odd that Delaware is one that's behind compared to, most states. I think Pennsylvania, I think it's completely open, right? Completely legal.
I'm not sure about Pennsylvania. I know Jersey, it's completely legal now.
There you go. All right, well, that's good. Yeah. California is like wide open.
Slowly, but surely we're getting there.
Right. Yeah, California, it's everywhere. It's people's yards.
Yeah.
It grows
California
everywhere.
and Colorado.
Right, yeah. So you had a question about the horror, though? Horror and pot? Or horror marijuana?
Or I was saying you had a lot of horror on your resume. Were you a horror fan growing up?
Okay, that's a great question. I was not, although, I'm a huge fan of Jaws, and I was a huge fan of The Shining. Those are two of my favorite movies of all time when I was a kid. And I used to really like this movie called Omega Man with Charlton Heston. I don't know if that counts as a horror movie. I don't mind zombie movies so much, the classic Dawn of the Dead movies and stuff. But I was not your typical horror fan. You know what I mean? I'm not a Freddy or a Jason or a Michael Myers. I don't fall into any of those. I don't think I've ever seen one of those movies complete. I think I've seen the first Halloween because I'm a huge John Carpenter fan in his science fiction. I mean, I love watching his movies with his commentary and stuff like that. And I met him a couple times. And I've watched the first Michael Myers or the first Halloween. And then I watched the first reboot because my kids wanted to go see that in the movie theater. But what happened was I did Scary Movie, which was a spoof. It was like, the horror spoof. But then out of that, Rob Zombie contacted me and I did The Devil's Rejects. And after I did The Devil's Rejects, it was 2015. It was a 10th year anniversary of The Devil's Rejects. And they did a cast, it was Sid Haig and Bill Moseley and Kane Hodder was our stunt coordinator. And so he was there, and Ken Foray and just Michael Berryman. I mean, I had no idea when I made Devil's Rejects how incredible that cast was, because PJ Souls, and then we had me and Brian Hussein and Lou Temple, Priscilla Barnes, Jeffrey Lewis from Salem's Lot. So Rob really put together a great cast of like classic, iconic horror actors, and then he's really into comedy. Rob Zombie loves comedy, and that's why he did the Marx Brothers. That's why he did like Jerry Lewis and Three from Hell. And it's kind of a meshing of comedy and horror. All the movies we did, even though they're not so much hilarious, but there's some really funny moments. The chicken fucking scene in Devil's Rejects is one of the funniest like dialogue banter I've ever heard. So. But it wasn't until I did the reunion, and I think it was called, it was Blood at the Beach. It was either Days of the Dead Atlanta or Blood at the Beach, which is in Virginia Beach. One of them had a Devil Rejects reunion, and we did a big photo op with everybody. That's when I discovered the horror conventions, and I didn't know that these fans gathered up and how loyal they were. It opened my mind to horror movies more as a commodity. And so I said, let me go build my resume. I'm going to start doing horror because I love doing the conventions. They were so much fun. It was great to interact with the fans. In doing so, because to be frank, I definitely saw it more as like a commodity, as a career choice. Oh, let me go. It's kind of like Kid Rock. He's doing rap rock, right? And then his career is kind of going downhill. And then he's like, well, no, wait, I'm country music. You know what I mean? And he saw country music as an opening for Kid Rock. You know what I mean? He saw that patriot,
like a rebirth. Yeah.
Right. Because anybody, any old rocker can go country. A country music star can break it at age 50. There's no boy band breaking it at age 50. You know what I mean? There's, if you want to be a rock and roller, that's a young man's, you got to get in it while you're young. And you could stay in it like the AC/DC or Rolling Stones, but there's no 80-year-old rock and rollers just making it now. But you could be a Willie Nelson at 75, and you could be this prolific songwriter out of Kentucky that no one's ever heard of, and be the biggest thing in country music. So there's no age, There's no age limit there. And I kind of saw that with horror when I was with Sid and Mosley and Ken Foray and even Bruce Campbell or everybody. It was I looked around and I was like the youngest guy. I was 35 with people that were 60, 70 years old and that have been in the business for 40 years. And I was like, wait a second, this has longevity. Horror doesn't have an age. There's always a place. I'm graduating from the deputy to the sheriff, to the mayor, to the old gas station attendant, you know what I mean? To the crazy old farmer, eventually, you know what I'm saying? There's always the night shift caretaker at the graveyard. What are you kids doing? You know what I mean? I would have got away with it if it wasn't for you could go from the meddling kid that's like the final girl to the old lady, you know what I'm saying? So you can go right, you know what I'm saying? You could be you could basically be the final girl. You could go all the way to the nutty old lady that runs the hotel. You know what I'm saying? So you can just work your way through. It's like, and then you're an iconic. You're like, oh, it's her. It's, so.
People are just thrilled to see you on screen after a certain point. Like, you don't even have to do much. You just got to stand outside and fucking spit tobacco. And people are going to be like, holy shit, he was in that movie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And that's the difference between like comedies. Comedies have an expiration date. If you look, it's like, whether it's Jim Carrey or Adam Sandler or whatever, they'll make their movies and then they're not anymore. You know what I mean? Then there's a younger. So comedy is for the young. And I think mainly because people don't find old people fun. Now, that's not exactly true because you have there's some standouts like Grumpy Old Men or movies like that, But for the most part, it's not like it's tougher to be cast in the mainstream comedy movies and definitely action movies. At a certain point, Arnold Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis, they can't really do the action movies, and they are doing them. They're like direct to video, but it's not really believable anymore that they're kicking a door down and taking a fist to the face. The reality is it's like you're on cholesterol medication and heart medication. You're not fighting that long. It's not really happening.
Right.
But everybody bleeds. Everybody bleeds right down to the end. So in short, though, and once I started doing it as a business, as a commodity, then I'm a director and a writer, and I've written some horror movies, and I'm looking to direct, my first film as a horror director. So I've studied it, like while I'm making these films, I'm studying it. I'm looking at how they make scripts. I'm seeing what's done right and what's done wrong in my own films, because I've made a lot of, the other thing is about horror versus any of the other genres is, and I think you guys know this, is it's acceptable to make a lower budget. You know what I mean? There's a genre for low budget horror. You know what I'm saying? And it's accepted. It's like, and the fans understand, they didn't have much of a budget, but they did their best. You know what I mean? And because there's certain topics and there's certain stories that the big studios aren't going to touch. They're just not going to touch and make a big movie out of, so you have to make it a low budget, because that's
right.
Nobody's going to touch something about a rapist, child molester guy that's, deformed with eyeballs hanging out, so who's taking skin off of people, and you know what I'm saying? So So I basically came to really, then I became a fan of the genre. In doing it, I've slowly become more and more of a fan of the genre, but in a different way, because I'm such a fan of the fans. I'm a fan of the process. I'm a fan of, I can't believe how much people love, how it's sort of like a community. It's a great community. So, the fans are the best. Horror fans are the best fans in the business. That hands down. And so, how do you not love that? Like, I get so much love from the fans that it's turned me into a fan of horror, and finding out what they enjoy. And now I understand it more too. What some of them enjoy, what works for some of them, what doesn't work. And the best thing is and that's why Shudder. Do you guys know Shudder? It's that. It's like a app or you know what I'm talking about? It's like a
yeah. We're actually kind of like partners with them in a way. Like, they send us screeners for their stuff to like view in advance.
Right. I feel like they're like, it's like that's the example of like a corporate horror company where they don't understand the full pie of all the different genres that are offered in horror. They don't get it. Like, I feel like they're kind of homogenized in a weird way. I was disappointed by Shudder and what their choices were and how they were doing it. I just felt like it wasn't like MTV. When MTV came out in the early MTV, they had Headbangers Ball, and they had, pop stuff, and they had news, and they had unique things about music, you know what I'm saying? Concerts and stuff, where horror has, there's the traumas, you know what I mean? And there's like blood and guts, and there's sort of like torture porn, and there's, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's just so many different genres of horror that Shudder doesn't really encapsulate it all. So I was disappointed that it doesn't speak to all the fans. So.
Yeah, I definitely understand what you mean by that. Yeah, it is definitely more generalized. But let's go back to the Devil's Rejects for a second. You're coming back to the East Coast next weekend for PA HorrorCon, and you're doing a Devil's Rejects photo op with William Forsythe and Ginger Lynn. That's correct?
That's right. Yeah, and I'm growing my hair. And I got the glasses, and I'm gonna have I'll be growing this out to shave it. I'll be in a full Ray Dobson look for it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm doing that. I can't speak. I don't know if William's going to do anything like wear a hat, cowboy hat. Probably not. But I'll be there. I'm going to be Doofy on Sunday for a photo op, and I'll be Ray Dobson
I was going to ask you about that
for Devil's Reject. And then I'm also doing a Victor Crowley with who's going to be there? It's me, Felissa Rose, and Tiffany Shepis from Victor Crowley.
Oh, well, I didn't know about that. I didn't know you were doing that type of a photo op. I missed the news on that one. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'll be Dylan. I just got because I get to keep my stuff. So in that, I kept like the vest with the name tag and the ascot and denim shirt, and so I have to figure out, like, I might have to get a wig for that, because this hair I can do Doofy and I could do Ray Dobson, but it's probably too long for Dylan, because Dylan was a little shorter. It was kind of game show hosty. You saw the film, right, Victor Crowley?
This is General Dylan McMaster. We crashed in Honey Island Swamp and we need help. This is a consulate ship on a diplomatic mission. Yeah, we've seen it, man.
You've seen it. That's right. I do think I was just coming up with not a jump scare, but kind of like a misdirect in that scene. Remember how Victor Crowley came in and I locked the door and he was like digging around the ship?
Yeah.
It would have been great if like something happened, like something dropped or it made a noise, right? Like my seat broke or whatever. And he hears something in there and he punches through and you see him grab a head and then cut the head off. But the reveal would have, and you think that Dylan's dead, but the reveal would have been that it was the pilot. There's one of those dead pilots that I was kind of like hiding and let him take that head. And so everyone's like, oh, Dylan's dead. And then it would have just been like me, like taking the pilot off of me, you know, as a reveal later on and being like, see, you give good head or something like that. You know what I mean?
That's fucking brilliant.
Because that would have been like a kind of like oh, fuck, Dylan, he finally got it. Because when he pitched me Dylan, when Adam Green pitched me Dylan, he wrote the character for me. But when he pitched it, it was like, you're going to be that jackass that the audience is like, this guy's dead. As soon as you meet him, he's dead. And like, I'm at the shoreline yelling, like, we're over here. You know what I mean? I'm drawing Victor Crowley to us. It's like, so, but that's the funny reveal of the movie is like, I'm a guy that's like not likable. And then I slowly become likable and I sort of sacrifice myself at the end, you know? So it's a really good character. I had a fun time doing that one. I loved working with Adam. He's one of the funnest directors to work with. He lets you do, you know, he's very confident in his own work. So he wants the actors and Keenan Ivory Wayans, when I do all those Wayne movies, he was the same way. It was like, you get hired to do your thing. And so the worst thing a director can do is stop the actor from doing what they're getting paid to do, which is what the director hired them to do, is bring their drawer of tools. You know what I mean? And have them do what they want to do. So Adam was a ball, and we shot that thing at night. It was cold. You know, we were really in like a lake with the plane was sinking. So we're all wet and cold. So I had a ball doing it, but Adam has so much energy, and he's like a kid in a candy shop. You know, he's never like not bored with watching the takes, with changing the takes, so he keeps the energy going, especially on night shoots like that. So, yeah.
And
so that, hold on really quick.
Sorry.
PA. So yeah, the PA HorrorCon. I don't think it's not next weekend. It's in, well, oh, I see. This is going to air.
Yep.
Nah, cut this part out. This needs to be cut out on Saturday morning by the editor. Hold on. Hey, what's your editor's name?
Josh.
All right. Morning, Josh. How you doing, man? Good. Did you get this thing all right? All right. Yeah. I love Saturday mornings. Okay, cut this out. Okay. This is just for you and me, Josh. Just sit back and enjoy. Sit back and enjoy, Josh. Yeah. All right, there you go. Have a fun one, Josh.
Going back to Victor Crowley, that turbine scene, how was it shooting that?
Like actually tackling him in, you mean? Like
were you doing the stunt yourself?
Okay, what's interesting about that is I did not do that stunt. Normally I would, and Kane and I have done stunts together, but in this particular case, because of the stunt itself, which was the engine and the way it was with, imagine like the metal thing. If his back would have hit the actual metal thing instead of going in, he could have got really hurt. And he's blind. When he's Victor Crowley, he's wearing the eye things and he's got all that prosthetics on. It's really hard to move. His visual's not very good. So with that said, he did use a stunt actor that he's used to working with, that they practiced the stunt. So the actual run and then the tackle that went into the airplane was somebody else. I didn't do that. Normally I would, but the times where I don't do my own stunts is usually when it involves another actor. And that's to mitigate the risk of the other actor getting hurt or one actor hurting another actor. So in this case, Kane, since he didn't know what's behind him and he's got to get tackled and he's got to be tackled up. You know what I mean? The guy had to tackle him and push him up. And Kane's also a pretty big guy. You know what I mean? He's not, I don't know if I could have even lifted him, you know? So we had to have a stunt guy that was strong enough to push him up and stuff like that. So I wish I would have done the stunt, but I didn't. Yeah.
How was it working with Kane?
Oh, I've worked with him so many times. And we're friends on the circuit. We're friends. He just called not too long ago, and I'm going to see him next week. I'm shooting with him next week in New York. I'm shooting with him next week. So I'm going to see him next week on a movie called Z Dead End. And Kane's great. He loves to play jokes. He likes to be a jokester. And in that particular thing, Victor Crowley's outside the plane, remember? And we're all inside the plane, and there's water coming in from this thing that we're flooded. Well, in one of the takes, we're inside the plane. They're like, an action. And he was like, hold on. And he had to go to the bathroom. And I think he almost made himself go to the bathroom, but he pissed in the water downstream. So he's literally pissing on all of us, and we're stuck. we're stuck and we're rolling. And I felt bad. The worst, I felt bad for Tiffany because she's in the water with like her mouth is, Kane is just pissing and you have to understand.
Piss is sterile.
And it's not just Kane pissing, it's Victor Crowley pissing. You know what I mean? It's Victor Crowley pissing. So that's kind of funny. Yeah, he had like a big Victor Crowley cock. It was all deformed. At least I thought it was. Maybe it was just Kane's thing. I mean, I did find it weird that they would make this weird deformed looking cock that's not going to be seen. So maybe that was just Kane's penis. You have to ask him when he's on. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll make sure that we do that.
Yeah. Do that in person.
Yeah, definitely. Scary Movie came out 20 years ago, dude. That's crazy. So listen, I got to ask you, like back then the world had a sense of humor and your character Doofy was exaggerated. That's what made him so funny and outrageous. I got to ask, more of a journalistic question here. Did you ever catch any flack for playing an intellectually challenged guy, or you seem pretty well received from everyone. So I'm wondering if there was any backlash to that.
Well, I'll answer two questions on that. One is, let me start by the origins of Doofy. His original name was Chip, and I actually shot 2 short films right there in Newark, Delaware, and it was on Chestnut Hill Road. There was a Chevron where there's also like a Dairy Queen. I guess there's a ShopRite. The ShopRite used to be there. I don't know what's there, but it's by a neighborhood called Scottfield on Chestnut Hill Road. I'm not great at the roads names, but I remember being in a Goodwill and finding like these Chevron gas attendant, uniform. And so I thought it'd be funny to play. I already had this character named Chip, which was an amalgamation of 2 guys I knew growing up. I grew up in Rob Scott Manor in Newark, Delaware, and Scottfield was like the next neighborhood over. And basically, there was a kid named Adam over in Scottfield, and in my neighborhood, there was a guy named Bruce who worked at the Blue Hen Diner over there on 896, which isn't there anymore either. But it's. I think there's a Friendlies. Maybe there's a Friendlies there, and it's across the street. There was like what was called the Blue Hen Diner, and I don't know what it's called now. And he worked there, but Bruce and Adam, I combined those 2 characters. Those 2 guys, they were friends of mine in my neighborhood, and created Chip, who because they both had learning disabilities, but they weren't born that way. They both had chemical reactions to like a medication that the doctors gave him. Like, because Bruce was like bit by a dog when he was like 2 years old, and they gave him some medication or something, and it just messed his head up. And the funny thing about those 2 guys is because it was due to the fact that like a doctor prescribed them some medication that they had a reaction to, they were worth a lot of money because they won like a malpractice lawsuits. So they were, you got to imagine these Doofy kind of characters, right? That were actually millionaires who had, but their parents controlled the money. You know what I mean? Like, it was like, they just had an allowance, but they still always had like the nicest shoes and whatever, when a Walkman came out, they had a Walkman, members only jacket, they had the members only jacket. So, because they were kind of loaded. So I shot that film. We just went and shot in the early 90s, right after I graduated Glasgow, I would just go and shoot with a video camera out in public. I would just play characters and shoot them out in public all around Newark. And one of them was this Chip character at the Chevron. And the idea was that I was working there. So we just had cameras. The cameras weren't hidden. People just didn't pay attention to them, because my camera guy would stand back a little bit and I'd wear a microphone so that it would be on the camera still. And I would just go up and go, hey, I was like Doofy. I'm like, hey, check your tire pressure. Oh, okay, thank you. Like wash your windows. And I would just have a muddy bucket. It was just mud water with a squeegee. And I was making their windows more dirtier, and they'd be like, oh, but they thought it was like the boss's son or something like, oh, isn't that nice? They're letting this kid work here. quote unquote work. And then I was like, okay, pop your hood. I'd be like, pop your hood, you check your engine. They'd be like, no, it's okay. I'm like, no, it's my job. And I'd open the hood. They'd be like, no. And they'd be like trying to shut the hood again. Like, you're not touching my engine. You know, I'm like, no, it's good. I guess, you know. And so it was so funny to see how quickly it would turn from them being like, oh, that's so sweet. They're like, what are you doing? No, get away from my car. But so the Wayans in Miramax, they saw those short films with Chip, and then they hired me to play Doofy. And so the second part of that question was, have you gotten any flack over the 20 years? And I really haven't, because people love Doofy. He's played so earnestly. I do play him very earnest. And I play him, I have a lot of heart for Doofy, AKA Chip, because he really is Bruce and Adam, you know, and I love those guys. They were great guys. And so I play it, I try to play it as, you know, he's funny, but there's something sort of grounded and real about Doofy in a weird way, and it's sort of earnest, like pure of heart. He's like a pure of heart character. He just means well, and he just wants to help. So I'm actually amazed he stayed around, because he became a meme. You know what I mean? Became like, there's a meme of him like saluting, and you see all sorts of stuff. And even during the elections, he was a meme for one side or the other side. And you know, this is my boss on Monday or whatever, you know what I mean? Showing up on work on Monday. So he's kind of like, you guys are aware of the memes, right? You see
Yeah.
Yep.
And that's really what I was shocked at, that it's transcended, that Doofy is still 20 years later. That's an iconic character to even be in the zeitgeist of, you know, the society after 20 years.
He's like a pop culture icon.
Exactly. He's sort of like the millennial Alfred E. Newman. He's like the Alfred E. Newman for the millennial. And that's the way I look at him, because he kind of symbolizes like everything sort of like humorously stupid about our society, if that makes any sense. Self-referentially. So he is the idiocracy all wrapped up into one. So
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I haven't caught much flack. There's been a few people that have said it's off color, you know, or it's not, you know, PC or whatever, but there hasn't been any insane attempt to cancel it out. But if it came to that, you know, you got to go with where society goes. You know, that's the thing. If there was enough wave to say it's over, stop doing that, maybe I might even be relieved. You know, because what's kind of funny is, I know my mom is like, oh, great, this guy makes, you know, I do this. And at those conventions, you know, they go, can you do the Doofy face? Can you do the Doofy face? I'm like, yeah. And then I come home and my kids broke something. Recently, they broke something that cost $400. And I go, do you know how many Doofy faces that is? So now everything in my house is like worth so many Doofy faces, you know, like that's 40 Doofy faces. Oh, those braces, that's 20 Doofy faces, you know, like, so, oh, you need a new baseball bat? That's 60 Doofy faces, you know? So he's its own. Now I view the Doofy faces as like its own commodity, you know, like the measurement of money. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, no, I think that Doofy's here to stay. Like we said, he's a pop culture icon, and he's in everybody's hearts who sees that movie. He stole the show. You stole the show. You know, that role is just so memorable, man. Like it's just crazy. I wanted to ask you, my favorite line in the film is when the cops make Doofy smell their fingers because they got the third base with that prostitute,
right.
And then in return you make them smell your fingers, and the cops like smacking your hand away. And he goes like, "Yo, what the fuck is that?" And you go, my ass. Right, yeah. That's my favorite line in the whole movie, dude. It really so is. What was your favorite line playing Doofy?
Yeah, probably that or Gale Swallows. Maybe Gale Swallows, only because both of those were sort of made up. The my ass one came from Bruce, because my friend Bruce would always come up. He's a big Philadelphia Phillies fan, and he'd be like, hey, where's the camera? He'd be like, hey, and he would stick it all the way up in your face. Give me 5, hey, and you'd go like this. He'd go, hey, give me 5, and we'd be like, dude, like, like, because his hand smelled like ass. We're like, what the? But you would slap it away, and he thought you still gave him 5. He's like, yeah, how about them Phillies? He'd be like, how about them Phillies? How about them Phillies? Even if they were in last place, he'd be like, hey, give me 5. How about them Phillies? So that's kind of where I got that whole, like, my ass from. And we kind of made that up on the spot. And then because I actually did that to Keenan when I came in for the interview, I came as full Doofy or full Chip. And I stuck my hand in his face, you know, and I did rub it in my crotch, and it stunk, you know. And even in that scene, I was making sure I was, you know, getting a little like in between the crack to give Terry a little bit. I do think but the Gale Swallows was Keenan had me say like 10 things to try to crack up Sherry O'Terry, you know, which one would really catch her off guard, and that was the one she reacted to. So that's why he kept it in, because he got the reaction. But the scene with Principal Squigman where I pooped my pants, because I was really, if you watch that scene, I'm like sweating, turning red, because I really tried to like shart my pants. You know what I mean? And I got a little bit out. But it wasn't enough. It was like I was really wanted to let it all flow, because I wanted to have that. You know, I just wanted that iconic story of like Dave Sheridan really crapped his pants in that scene, you know? So, which I did, but it was just a little bit. But I like when they were like, go get it, you know, like, did you just say I go poopy? Yeah, it was good. Yeah, it was good. So, yeah.
That is real method acting.
Yep. Yeah, that was also taken from Chip, which is taken from Bruce, was Chip's line of, you working? Hey, you working? You working? He always asks if everyone's working. Because whatever they're doing, even if they're not, no, I'm not working. Okay, good. You know, so yeah.
A good friend of ours, Kenny, he had a question. He wants to know, what vacuum does Doofy think is best for cleaning his room?
I heard the right now it's the Hoovers, I guess, the classic Hoovers. You know, the rotary engine ones, I guess, a vacuum. There should be a Doofy vacuum database review thing. Maybe I should review vacuums. That would be good. I'll tell you what, it's not. It's not a Dyson. It's not one of these new Dyson ones. You know, that where I think your penis would be chopped up in it or something like that. The Cyclone Dynamic. You know,
That just sounds like a bad time.
Yeah. Dyson sounds like. It just sounds like Tyson chicken. I don't know. Dyson. It sounds like you're getting you know, it's like diced up. I just get this like Dyson, you know, your Dyson meat, so when I think of Dyson, it's like, I'm not sticking my penis in there and get it diced up, you know? So, yeah.
So the Wayans brothers, those are definitely comedy heavyweights.
Yeah.
How was it getting to work with them?
Oh, I loved, I've done like 8 films with them. I might be doing something with them in about a month. Yeah. It's another horror-based comedy. It's a Halloween. It's based on Halloween. That's all I can say. I can't give it away, but I'm talking to them right now. I just did a convention with John Abrams, who's John Abrams. I don't know if it's Abrahams or Abrams, but I think it's Abrams. Yeah, but John played Bobby in Scary Movie, and so him and I might be teaming up to play a couple of characters in this up and coming Wayans movie that they're doing. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome to hear.
Yeah.
And
by the way,
you worked.
Some of this stuff I've been saying, like if you saw the faces of these people, they keep looking like, like, could you see? Uh-oh. Were you guys able to see?
Oh, no.
Huh?
Nah.
No.
Oh, I don't know.
No.
How do I? That's new. It's got a new. Yeah. But there's people in the lobby here. And every time I say something, they're like, it's like one of these, like, you know, talking about like, yeah, I don't know, sticking my penis in a vacuum. They're like, there's like they're looking up from like their iPads, you know, like, it's funny. Hey, how are you? Good. Anyway.
You also worked with on Joe Bob's Haunted Drive-In as Dr. Zomberger. How was that getting to work with John Bloom?
Oh man, he's awesome. I've met him a couple times at signings and stuff, as you know, because I do a lot of stuff with Felissa. We're producing partners, and she's on that show regularly. So she really brought me in on that, which I was totally stoked, because that's one of those ones that I never thought I would be a part of. You know what I mean? I go, wow, being a part of a Joe Bob thing, that's, again, like, I kind of keep falling into these cultural, you know what I mean? Like, okay, a cultural bucket list. Yeah. So I got a pretty good career when it comes to that kind of stuff. And that was a lot of fun because it was live too. Like we went and had that at drive-ins. So the people watching us on the screen were there, and then there was things going on in the actual parking lot, zombies and stuff like that. I had them honk the horns and the headlights, and it was really happening because we got to go to the actual drive-ins and watch the interaction. So that's a lot of fun. That was kind of like a Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of interaction kind of stuff. And he's really great to work with. He's a good writer, man. He writes all that stuff. He writes the show. He's a very prolific writer. So you're not supposed to say his real name.
Well, I guess I'm in trouble now with Joe Bob.
Yeah. You're lucky you're not on camera. And I think you're supposed to be right there. And my thing, it's got a little white. I should take a screen grab. And balloon. There you go. I just took a screen grab. I know who you are. I know what you did last summer. That's right. Is it? Isn't that funny? Because hold on really quick. So Scary Movie, we did Scream meets I Know What You Did Last Summer. And Scream is at 5. I think they're working on their 5th Scream right now, or it's about to come out. And there was 6 Scary Movies. So there's 11 of those films, but there's only been 2 I Know What You Did Last Summer, and it wasn't that bad. I didn't mind that one, but I guess it wasn't, maybe it just wasn't good enough to catch on. I don't know.
Yeah, they ended up making a 3rd I Know What You Did Last Summer.
They did? But was it I Know What You Did?
I think it went straight to video.
I sort of know what you did 2 summers ago. Can't really remember anymore. It's been a while. Can you remind me? I know what you're going to do next summer. Hey, what are you doing next summer? I know how there was, I Spit on Your Grave. Remember that I wanted to do I wanted to do a spoofy prequel called I Shit on Your Casket. You know what I mean? Like it's before they get buried.
Oh. It's a prequel.
Yeah, it's a prequel called I Shit on Your Casket.
And you had some movies coming up and some other projects. What do you have going on?
Man, all I can tell people is go check out my IMDb because there's stuff listed on there. We shoot so many things now. I don't know what's out, what's not out, when it came out. Only thing I could tell you is that I'm having a ball shooting stuff. I think one of the next ones coming out is called Bloody Summer Camp. That's really good. There's some good stuff in that for a low budget movie. It came out. I enjoyed it. I went to the premiere and saw it, and it's great. And and there's another one called Massacre Academy. That you can see the trailer online for probably both of those. Massacre Academy is I have a really good turn in that one as well. The thing for me that I'm enjoying the most is, even though these are low budget horror movies, I'm put in a position to be able to create characters and do some performances that I normally have not been tested or cast, in roles of this nature, playing some of the darker roles, playing some bad guys. It's been a lot of fun. There's one called Cold-Blooded Killers. It's okay. It's not the best movie in the world, but I really enjoyed playing my character of the main bad guy. You know what I mean? And I think my performance is pretty good in it. So I have a good time. So I hope everyone goes and checks out some of the newer stuff I'm doing, and just, take it with a grain of salt. Sometimes don't be so judgmental. I see a lot of horror reviews and people are so judgmental, and they should be supportive of the fact that independent horror people are out there I mean, I'm shooting in Virginia, Pennsylvania, Maine. We did a movie called Time's Up in Maine. There's nobody else is making movies in Maine. So there's filmmakers in Maine making movies. There's filmmakers in Ohio making movies. I made a movie in Kansas City. Who's making movies in Kansas City except for local Kansas City filmmakers, So I hope people can get behind just independent filmmakers and understand they're not going to be the greatest films ever made, but they should support the community. And that's what I come to love is the horror community, and how it's the only place that there's young up and coming filmmakers in every state making movies. There's not a lot of young comedic filmmakers making films in Portland, Oregon, or Idaho, but they're making horror movies in every state. And so you don't want to cannibalize your own. It's like you should be supportive of the fact that they are horror fans making horror movies the best they can, and they're making it for themselves and they're making it for the other fans to enjoy. They might not have the greatest budget, they might not have the best effects, but they're trying and they're learning. These are all works in progress. You know what I'm saying? Some of these filmmakers, might be the next Sam Raimi or somebody like that, Peter Jackson. I don't know. And for every 5 or 6 that I shoot, there's always one director. I'm like, whoa, this guy, I got to keep an eye on him, and that was this Mark Cantu for Massacre Academy. I thought he was I could tell he's going to be getting better and better. So check that one out, Massacre Academy. It's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out. And yeah, I think people are sometimes in the horror community way too critical on movies. I will agree with you on that.
Yeah. I think they get insulated. They get self-insulated, and they want everything to be, well, especially if they're already doing reviews, then they become like, well, I need to prove my reviewership. You know what I mean? I need to prove my own critique of who I am, like how well I'm informed of everything and stuff like that. So just remember every critic, everyone's a critic. You know what I mean? Opinions are like assholes. Everyone has one, right? Mm-hmm. So we got 3 right here. Maybe 4. Maybe one of us might have 2 assholes. I don't know.
I guess we'll leave that up to the viewers to decide.
Yeah, hold on. I got to wipe my ass. There you go.
And where can people follow you on social media?
Yeah, the only one that is active is Instagram right now. I think there's something on TikTok that somebody started. I don't personally understand any of that social media, so I don't really do it. But I have people that do it for me. I'll just let you guys know. So if you send a message to any of these, it's not. But you guys contacted me, right?
Yep, we got you through email.
There you go. Yeah. Also, I think on Instagram, I put my email and phone number on the Instagram because I don't run that Instagram. So I was kind of tired of people sending DMs to the guy that runs it. And then it was bothering, I'm already tasking him enough with posting stuff and sending stuff. I didn't want him to be my secretary that's forwarding messages. You know what I mean? Right. So
yeah, that makes sense.
I just put the contact info because I never pick my phone up. You can call all you want. And you don't have to pick up the email either. It's like the email, yes or no, when you guys said you were from Delaware, that was exciting. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I'm not a hard guy to get a hold of, but Instagram is where you can go. There's a little circle story thing on that Instagram where it says tour dates, and you can click on that, and it's got I post all the tour dates there so people can see where they can see me at. You know what I mean? So this PA HorrorCon's on there. New Jersey HorrorCon in November. There's some other ones coming up. I think I'm going to be in Gettysburg on New Year's Eve called New Year's Evil. I'll be in Miami on Labor Day called Labor Day weekend. So, I'm all over the place. So you just got to check that thing for the tour dates. I don't put them on, like the New Year's Eve one is not on there yet. You know what I'm saying? Like I wait. It's more like what's coming up in the next month for people to see. So.
We definitely appreciate you coming on, and we enjoyed talking to you.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh man, yeah, I appreciate you guys, and thank you. Let me know, please. Send me a link when this is up, and I can have it posted on the Instagrams and stuff like that.
100%. It was great talking to you, man. Thank you so much for taking the time, like I said earlier.
Yeah, let me come on again when I'm not like in a public setting, and I can it can be a little louder and funner. I guess I don't know.
Yeah.
I definitely. Well, I know we wanted to get on because I know you guys wanted to try to get me some, get a little bit of this on before the PA Horror Con, so people can come up and if come on up, say hi if you've seen me on this thing. Let me know. I'll give you. I got a present. I got a little surprise for everyone that comes and says that they saw me on High on Horror. If they come up to the PA Horror Con. I got a special little gift. So, but not you guys. No, I don't want you to I don't even know. What is the other guy's name that I don't see? What's his name?
John.
John. Okay. I don't know what he looks like. So you're going to have to send me a photo. All right, Drew?
Okay.
I'm going to need a photo of this guy because I'm going to have to put that up at the gate and say, he's, I've got a restraining order against him. Because he said John Bloom. You can't, no, you got. Hopefully, maybe you guys will come up. I don't know if you'll have a chance to come up there. It'd be cool.
We're trying. My wife has her best friend's wedding is that weekend, and we have 2 kids, so it's really a matter of like, how can I juggle that and get away? I can't leave her with the kids. If I take the kids to this con by myself, am I going to be able to handle 2 little kids running around and handling all my stuff I wanted autographed? So we're trying to work it out.
How old are they? How old are they?
My youngest just turned 1 year old today. And today was his birthday. And my oldest is turning 4 next month.
Yeah. They both fit in the trunk of a car. Just put them in the trunk. Put some plate. Put an iPad on, You got a couple hours, an iPad in the trunk. They'll watch TV. You're good. That's parenting. That's called parenting. Okay, that's totally proper. Totally proper.
If you approve, I'll do it.
No, I work for the Parents Association of America, and this is a lot of a new type of parenting that we're doing. Is if they can stand up in the trunk, if it's a hatchback, you can put them in a hatchback up until 4 years old. But you're talking like. What did you say? 3? How old? 3 and 1?
1 and 4.
1 and 4. They should both be able to. What kind of car do you have?
We have a SUV. It's a Honda. I'm not good with cars. I don't even know what the hell model type it is. We've had it for like 2 years, but I couldn't even tell you. I know it's a Honda.
Honda, yeah, SUV, no problem. Get some cardboard though, so you can cover up the windows and just put them in there and lock it and put the heat on high and don't give them any water because you don't want them to piss in there or anything like that.
It builds character.
They're better. Yeah, they're better dehydrated. Back in. Make sure you back the car in so that they're towards the back of the parking spot. Keep the iPad down low, like in terms of the volume, and you're good to go for a couple hours, man. I'm surprised you don't even know this, man. That's typical Delaware parenting.
I'm not even going to deny that that's Delaware parenting.
Yeah, no. Yeah, maybe I can see up there. I understand if you have kids and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, if we can make it up there, we'll definitely reach out ahead of time and email you, or I'll text you and let you know.
Cool. All right, man.
All right, well, thank you for being on again, man. We appreciate it.
Take care.
Yep, cool. Thank you. I look forward to meeting you guys. Bye. Later.
Thanks to all the horror hounds and smokers out there. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks again to Dave Sheridan for joining us today. Dave's a hilarious guy, and it was awesome getting to talk to a fellow Delawarean. Also, solid parenting advice as well. And also, as a reminder, if you go up to Dave Sheridan's table at PA Horror Con and mention you heard him here on High on Horror, he'll have a free gift for you. Now tune in next week when we speak with Leprechaun Returns star Lyndon Porco. Follow us online on Facebook and Instagram at High on Horror 420 and Twitter at High_horror. You can also reach us via email at highonhorror420@gmail.com. That'll about wrap her up. Catch you later.
Bye, guys.